Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from Canto 2, Chapter 7, Text 42. Yesham saesa bhagavan dayayedantaha Sarvatmana shrita pado yadi nirvayalikam Sarvatmana shrita pado yadi nirvayalikam Te dushtaram atitaranti cha devamayam Dushtaram atitaranti cha devamayam Nesham mama aham iti di swashrigala bhaktye Sham mama aham iti di swashrigala bhaktye Yesham saesa bhagavan dayayedantaha Sarvatmana shrita pado yadi nirvyala likam Sarvatmana shrita pado yadi nirvyala Te dushtaram atitaranti cha devamayam Naisham mama aham iti dishvashvigala bhaksye. Hare Krishna. Somebody chant. Yesham Sahesa Bhagavan Dayanta Sarvat Manashripadoyati Nirvalikam Dushtaramati Taranti Chalivamayam Yesham Mahamiti Shavaksi Yesham Sahesa Bhagavan Dayanta Sarvat Dushtaramati Taranti Chalivamayam Nesham Mahamiti Swachugalabaksi. Matajis, anyone would like to try? Okay. So word for word, Yesham, unto those only, Saha, the Lord, Eshaha, the Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Dayayet, does bestow his mercy, Anantaha, the unlimited potential, Sarvatma Atmana, Sarva Atmana, by all means without reservation. Asrita Padaha, surrendered soul, Yadi, if such surrender, Nirvyalikam, without pretension, Te, those only, Dustaram, insurmountable, Atitaranti, can overcome, Cha, and the paraphernalia, Deva Mayam, diverse energies of the Lord, Na, not, Esham, of them, Mama, mine, Aham, myself, Iti, thus, Di, conscious, Swa, dogs, Shrigala, jackals, Bhaksya, in the matter of eating. So translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. But anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. Purport: the unalloyed devotees of the Lord know the glories of the Lord in the sense that they can understand how great the Lord is and how great is his expansion of diverse energy. Those who are attached to the perishable body can hardly enter into the realm of the science of Godhead. The whole materialistic world, based on the conception of the material body as the self, is ignorant of the science of God. The materialists materialist is always busy working for the welfare of the material body, not only his own, but those of his children, kinsmen, community-men, countrymen, etc. The materialistics have many branches of philanthropic and altruistic activities from a political, national, and international angle of vision, but none of the field can go beyond the jurisdiction of the misconception of identifying the material body with the spirit soul. Unless, therefore, one is saved from the wrong conception of the body and the soul, there is no knowledge of Godhead, and unless there is knowledge of God, all advancement of material civilization, however dazzling, should be considered a failure. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swachadantikam Vandeyam Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha He Drupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadabhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami. Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. Thank you for once again inviting me, and I seek to take blessings of all the Vaishnavas here so that we can discuss something from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're in Canto 2, Chapter 7, the scheduled incarnations with specific functions, and today we're reading text 42. So Lord Brahma is talking about the illustrious personalities in this chapter, and he's spoken about approximately 40 incarnations of the Lord. And Lord Brahma is explaining how it is impossible to understand the Lord. Even he himself cannot understand the Lord. And Krishna is limitless, so he's thinking that no one can understand. And in the previous verse, we see that Shesha, with his thousands of mouths, cannot speak of the limitless qualities and glorification of the Lord. So Lord Brahma is now speaking to Narada Muni, and he's saying that nor I, or you Narada, or the sages can understand. But in today's verse and in the next few verses, Lord Brahma is saying that there is somebody who can understand the Lord. And who are those? These are the unalloyed people who have given unalloyed surrender to the Lord. So it says here, Yesham sa esa Bhagavan. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of, who has the six opulences in full, is so compassionate that Sarvatmanashtrita Pado Yadi Nirvyalikam. If you take shelter of the lotus feet without duplicity, it attracts his blessings and one can cross the material existence. So in Canto 1, chapter 2, text 6, Srila Prabhupada says that one should know their own identification. So at the present moment, our identification is by skin. You know, I am Indian, I am American. We have all these isms, Hinduism, nationalism, communism. So, we have created this bodily concept of life. But proper identification is Aham Brahmashmi, I am a spirit soul. So Krishna actually came to establish this fact that we are all spirit souls and we are not American, Sudra, Vaishya. We are actually the eternal servants of Krishna. That is our true identification. In the Bhagavad Gita, it states that the person who has come into perfect knowledge is able to surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the person who has surrendered his life to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has actually come to perfect knowledge. And this perfect knowledge then allows us to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So, and a result of this perfect knowledge is that one becomes detached from the materialistic way, and the detachment allows us to purify our senses and engage in the service of the Lord. So here in this verse, it is mentioned that those who have surrendered, unalloyed surrender, by the Lord's favor can overcome the ocean of material existence or the material world. So what does this surrender mean to us? So let's look at a few examples of personalities who have actually surrendered to the Lord. So can you think of any personalities who have surrendered totally to the Lord? Gajendra, yes. Prabhuji. Vitrasura, any? Bali Maharaj, yes. So there are, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are endless personalities who've actually surrendered and they've gained the favor of the Lord. So let's take the personality of Sudama. So Sudama was such personality that although he was a friend of Krishna, he had totally surrendered to Krishna. And in the Krishna book, we see the story and his wife is speaking to him. So Sudama was very, very poor. And, they didn't have any food. He had children, no clothes, no food. So his wife then says to him that actually you have got a friend who lives in Dwarka in a palace and he's very, very rich. So why don't you go and ask him for help? So she says to him, so I'm just going to read, even if you think you are not rendering any devotional service to the Lord, still you are surrendered to him, and the Lord is the protector of the surrendered soul. So Lord Krishna is the only shelter for personalities like you, because you are fully surrendered onto him. So we see that Sudama is not on the material platform. Although he has nothing, he's not worried because he's surrendered to the Lord. And he doesn't really want to go and ask for anything from Krishna, because he knows that however Krishna keeps me, I'm happy. Yet, because he surrendered, so we know the story, I'm not going to go into the full story, that he feels that I haven't seen Krishna for a long time, so let me go and see him. So he goes to Dwarka, and there Krishna and his, Rukmaniji and all the wives, they welcome Sudama and show hospitality. Sudama stays with Krishna for a little while, and he doesn't ask for anything. In fact, he took some flat rice for Krishna, which Krishna really appreciated, because he brought it with love. And we see that Krishna reciprocated with him. When Sudama comes back, Krishna has provided everything, a house, food, everything for him. So, if you surrender, you don't need to worry, because Krishna will look after you, whatever he would like to do. Then there is another personality in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Jada Bharat. So he simply depended on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and totally surrendered. So in Canto 5, we see the story where Jada Bharat was just roaming around. So he didn't want to engage with anyone because he didn't want to get entangled in this material world. So he didn't want any interaction with anyone. So he would just roam around, and most people thought he was a madman that didn't know anything. And he was happy with that because he didn't want to be recognized as a great devotee, because then that would bring, fame and all that. He didn't want that. So the servants of a dacoit chief considered him to possess qualities suitable for a man-animal. They thought that he doesn't have any etiquette or anything, so he's like a man-animal. Because he did not conform to normal expectations and didn't want to interact with anyone, they thought that he would be a perfect sacrifice for Goddess Kali. So they bound him with ropes and took him to the temple of Goddess Kali, where they wanted to sacrifice him. But Jada Bharat, he didn't protest, he didn't do anything, because he was totally surrendered, and he thought, whatever my Lord wants to do, that's fine. And we see that he totally depended on the Lord. Bhaktivedanta Thakur sings, Maro bira kobi jo icha tumara nitya dasa prati tuya adhikara. So the translation is, my Lord, I am now surrendered unto you. I am your eternal servant, and if you like, you can kill me, or if you like, you can protect me. In any case, I am fully surrendered unto you. So this is the surrender that Jada Bharat is showing. So from these personalities, we can learn that this is how we surrender. And then in Canto 8, as Prabhuji said, Bali Maharaj, that's another example, who was perfectly educated by his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj. And his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj was never misguided by anyone. And here Bali Maharaj is showing the same example. So he's not even misguided by his so-called spiritual master. So here Vamanadev, Krishna in his incarnation as Vamanadev, appeared, and he asked, and Bali Maharaj asked Krishna, Vamanadev, what can I give you? And Vamanadev asks for just 3 steps. And Bali Maharaj says, that's fine, and the Lord Vamanadev, in 2 steps, he covered the whole universe. There was nothing else for Bali Maharaj to give him. So then he says, okay, where should I put my next step? And Bali Maharaj then says that I have nowhere else to go, nothing else to give. And he totally surrenders to Krishna. And then, Bali Maharaj, because he was from the demon's family, he was bound by ropes and taken down under. There, Bali Maharaj, he surrendered totally to Krishna, and he thought that up to you, I am totally surrendering on to you. And this surrender is called Atma Nivedana, where you totally surrender your life and your possessions, your everything, your family, everything to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also used to sing this song by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Manas deho geho jo kichu mor arpilo tuva pade Nanda Kishore. So the translation is, my dear Nanda Kishore, whatever I have got now, I am offering everything to you. My body, mind, home, family, everything I am surrendering to you. So we see that Bali Maharaj is also totally surrendered to Krishna. And in in Canto 8, Bali Maharaj actually says, in the purport it is mentioned, what is the use of a material body which automatically leaves its owner at the end of life? What is the use of one's family, home, country, community? Attachment for them merely wastes the valuable energy of one's lifetime. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Prahlad Maharaj, who also took shelter of the Lord against the will of his father. And similarly here, Bali Maharaj takes shelter of Vamanadev. And Bali Maharaj explains that the body, which is the center of all material activity, is also a foreign element. And I have to vacate and accept another body. Tatha dehantra praptir. So, we have to accept another body after this lifetime. Unfortunately, people in Kali Yuga are kept in dark about this knowledge by educationalists and institutions about the real goal of life, and they are struggling for existence. And we see that, isn't it, that everywhere you see, there are issues, everyone in the world is troubled because we don't have this real knowledge of who we are. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advises, Sarva Dharman Parityajaya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. So give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. But on the other hand, one might say, why do I need to take surrender? Why do I need to take shelter? Why do I need to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because to them, family, society, country, relatives is everything. So there is a story about a king who had 4 wives, and I'm sure most of you know this story. So this king had 4 wives, and so his 4th wife, he loved a lot. He really loved her the best out of all of them. And he would provide everything for her. So the best clothing, the best jewelry, anything she wanted, he would provide for her. And then he had the next one, the 3rd wife, who he also loved very much. And he was really proud of this wife. He would show her off to the neighboring kingdoms. And, but in his heart, he was always scared that she might go away somewhere, or somebody else might take her. So he would really protect her and really look after her. Then he had another wife, number 2, who he also loved. And this wife was really considerate, kind, and really looked after him. And whenever he had any problems, he would go to her and she would help him solve his problems. And then he had the fourth one. So this was the wife number 1. Now this one he didn't really love, he didn't really like very much, although she was really, really loyal and she was ready to do anything for him because she really deeply loved him. So he had these 4 wives, and he lived in his kingdom and had a really good life. But as we know, old age, disease, all these things creep up on us. So the king got really, really ill, and it was coming to the end of his life. And somebody said to him that, you've got all this, but you are going to die. What are you going to take with you? So he was really, really scared at the end of life. And he asked his 4th wife, the one he really, truly loved. And he said that, when I die, will you come with me, please? And she said that, oh no, I'm not going to come with you. I will find somebody else who can look after me and who can give me all these jewels, clothing, everything that I'm accustomed to. Why would I give that up and come with you? So she said no, and he was really, really upset that his wife, the one that he loved so much, he really looked after her, has said no. So he turned to wife number 3 and said that, will you please come with me? And again this wife said, no, I will not come with you. I will find somebody else. I will marry somebody else who can look after me after you're gone. So then the king was really, really disheartened, and he asked wife number 2. And he said, when I die, will you please come with me? And that wife said that, I understand how you feel, and I will try my best, but I will only come with you until the cemetery. Past that, I can't come with you, so I will not come with you. And by now the king was so distraught that he didn't even bother asking wife number 1, thinking that no, she's going to say no as well. But then wife number 1 comes forward and she says, dear king, I will come with you. I will be your companion, because she really, really loved him. So she agreed to go with him. Now, in this story, these wives are actually an analogy. So, wife number 4 is all our wealth, everything we've accumulated in this material world. So when we die, nothing is going to come with us. We're going to leave it all behind. And then wife number 3 is, our possessions, like our house. We look after it so well. We maintain it. But, we have to vacate it and go. And then wife number 2 is our family and our friends. Yeah, so they come with us until the point where they take us to the crematorium, and then our body is turned into ashes. But wife number soul, that we don't actually care for, like the king, we don't really pay attention, we neglect, and that is our soul. So, that is the one that we really need to look after, because the soul is the one that is who we are, and it will we'll go with the soul to our next part of our journey. So this story really shows that although we have attachments to other things, that really it is the soul, and we need to feed the soul. And in this verse, Srila Prabhupada actually gives a really, really strong message. But those who are attached to this body, which is meant to be eaten at the end by dogs and jackals, cannot do so. So, Srila Prabhupada says in this verse, so you might be doing good for others, for your country, for other people, but that's only going to help their body, not their soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are many, many examples, but if we just take one example of charity, when we give in charity, we might give money or clothes or something in charity. Yes, that will help the person, but it will only help their material body. So we need to go beyond that, beyond the three modes to the transcendental level, and give them something that will take them and help them in their next life and the next life. So we need to give them the transcendental knowledge or prasadam or something that helps them move on in their life. So recently I was listening to a class by His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj, and he was saying that our life is really spent looking after our body, isn't it? That's all we do most of the time. Now animals also have a body, but for animals the Lord has made it easy, they get their food easily. Animals don't need to make a big mansion or a palace or a house and maintain it. They just live in the forest. But for us, everything takes time. So if we look at food, we have to go shopping, then we have to cook, and then we have to eat, and then we have to clean the kitchen. All that takes a long time. Even with clothes, you have to go shopping. Even if you do it online, nowadays people shop online. If you do online, it takes a long time because you're going from site to site to site, looking for what you want to buy, and then you order it, and then it comes, it's the wrong size, then you send it back, then they send something else back. All this takes time, and then you've got lovely clothes, and then you have to wash them, then you have to dry them, then you have to iron them. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So all this again takes time, and and maintaining a house, you have to look after the house, maintenance, painting, all of that. So if you look at it, most of our time goes in maintaining this one body, and then what to speak of our family, our children, relatives, all that. And then we give time to that. We watch the news to see what's going on in our country, who's going to be the next prime minister. So we waste time doing that. So really most of our life is gone in just looking after this body. And then a little bit of time we might go to the temple and do some spiritual activities. But if we actually center everything that we do around our soul, then all that becomes devotional service, and all that becomes spiritual activities. And so the idea is that we should think of this body as just an instrument that can help us to move on in our spiritual life. So that is what this body is. So every month we get together, and we've got a Vanaprashtha Sangha, so anyone over 55 can come and join us. So in our last Sangha, few devotees said they hadn't watched the Hare Krishna movie by His Grace Yadubar Prabhu and Her Grace Vishaka Prabhu. So we watched the Hare Krishna movie. And in this movie, Srila Prabhupada was talking about the India and Pakistan war. How, so many people were fighting and killing each other. And why? Due to this bodily concept of I am a Hindu, so I'm going to fight from this side. I am a Muslim, so I'm going to fight from my side. And there were thousands and thousands of people killed, and they were all lying around on the ground. And then the council came, and they just put them all in a truck, and then the bodies were just put somewhere. And when the bodies were lying on the floor or in the truck, there was no designation. They were lying next to each other. Then they didn't think that, oh, I can't lie next to you. You're a Hindu or you're a Muslim. So, after death, there is no conception of I am this or I am that or any of the isms. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 7, Krishna says Dehi esa gunamai mama maya duratya. Mam eva prapadante mayam etam tarantite. So the translation is, the divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So we had a question, what is surrender? And we saw that these personalities have shown us that this is what surrender means. But how do we surrender? That's the other thing, that yes, it's okay for all these personalities to do it, but how do we surrender? So about 3-4 months ago, Keshav Maharaj gave a class, and he was saying that we can't get out of this material conception by ourselves, not by our own endeavor. We can't do it by ourselves. We need help. So we need the help of Guru and Krishna. So Maharaj was talking about how the Guru helps us to rise from this darkness of material world. And he says that first the Guru gives us initiation. So, he helps us by giving us the holy name. And then he gives us the Gayatri mantra. And through the Gayatri mantra, the Guru takes us to Goloka Vrindavan. So Maharaj was explaining how there are 7 mantras in the Gayatri. And the first is the Brahma Gayatri, where we are praying to be enlightened so that we can come out of this darkness. Because this material world is darkness. So we are praying to come out from this darkness and go into light. In the morning every day, we sing in Guru Puja, Jahara prasade bhai eva bhavatoriya jai. Krishna prapti hoi jaha hoite. So by his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. So, when we take shelter of Guru and Krishna and all the Vaishnavas, then the ocean of material world becomes like a hoof of a calf. So the hoof of a calf is that small. So then it becomes easy for us to cross across it and go back to Krishna. And it's only through devotional service that we can surrender to the Lord. In this age, we are very lucky that we have one benediction that has come through the compassion of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and that is the chanting of the holy names. So he has made it very easy for us, so that we can surrender to the name which is no different to Krishna. And, we can go back to Godhead by chanting. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And as it says in this verse, that anyone who is specifically favored by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, due to unalloyed surrender unto the service of the Lord, can overcome the insurmountable ocean of illusion and can understand the Lord. So this is the only way. By surrendering, we can understand the Lord and move on and go back to Godhead. So I will stop here and open it up. If anyone else would like to add something else or any reflections. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I read one time a pastime with Srila Prabhupada, where a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, does Krishna know everything? And Prabhupada replied, yes. And the devotee said, and the devotee replied, well, does Krishna know when we're going to surrender to him? And Prabhupada said, how could he know that?
True.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. But in some ways, Krishna does know everything, isn't it? Because, he does his leelas for a reason. We see in so many stories in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna knows everything, yet he does all these leelas. So that's his pastime, isn't it? Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you so much
Krishna.
for the nice class. I just had a question. So the theme of the class was very nicely about surrender. And I was thinking for myself how I could surrender a bit more on a day-to-day basis. And I had a few ideas. But I also was thinking that with surrender sometimes, at least speaking for myself, comes also expectations. And I wanted to ask, how can we make sure to surrender more, but without expectations of kind of seeing Krishna's reciprocation or something like that?
Thank you. So, in our daily life, Krishna gives us many opportunities to surrender. So, when we have problems, something is challenging, and life is challenging, isn't it? Now it's winter, even getting out of bed is a challenge, isn't it? So that's when we take surrender of Krishna and remember him and say that, well, it's not, I am not the doer, Krishna, you are the doer. If we've got any challenges, then say, okay, you know what, Krishna, I will do my best and I leave it to you. It's up to you which way this is going to go. So every time, just reminding us. So, remembering Krishna and reminding ourselves that we are not the doer. And Krishna is allowing us to do whatever we are doing. So that is surrender. That every time you think that I will do this or I will solve this problem like this, always at the back of your mind think that actually, no, not me, Krishna will do it. So that is taking shelter. So turning to Krishna all the time. And then the second part of your question was that then we have an expectation, isn't it? And yes, in the beginning, there might be an expectation that, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that there are many different types of people that come to him. Some might come to him because they want something. Please, can my son pass this exam? Please, can I have a nice house? Please, can I have a nice car so I can go to the temple? And at that point, we might not be asking so that we can serve Krishna, but we might be asking for ourselves. But which is fine because it's a journey. We are all on a journey. But slowly, we need to think that actually I am surrendering because I love Krishna. And, I want to serve him. So having that mood of service, that whatever I am doing it to serve you, Krishna. And if you don't reciprocate, it's okay. I just want to love you. So it's a journey, and we are all on that journey, and it's hard, and it's challenging. Up to the point where we become like, you know what, Krishna, it's up to you. Srila Prabhupada didn't have any expectations, He just prayed and said, Krishna, I will do my best. Now, we are saying that here we want to get out of this material world because it's full of darkness. But Srila Prabhupada wasn't praying like that. He was saying that, let me take another birth and do whatever you want me to do. When Srila Prabhupada was unwell, he was just praying, whatever you want me to do. When he went to America, he said that I surrender to you. You've brought me here, so, you tell me what you want me to do. So we get to that point where we don't mind even coming back into this material world, which is full of darkness, if we can serve Krishna. So it's a journey. And the more we surrender, the more Krishna will also help us so that we don't have expectations. So that is my understanding. But other devotees can add on to that. Yes, Prabhuji. Hold on. The mic is just coming.
In the transcendental calendar of Prabhupada, December 19th, letter to Jayapataka Swami, is quoted where he says, the secret of surrendering to Krishna. And he he breaks it down, and if I remember rightly, he says, the secret of surrendering to Krishna is that such a surrendered soul sees that everything is part of Krishna's plan. No matter what I am doing now, I'm meant to be doing. So then he says, let me do it with my full attention. No matter what it is, let all other considerations be forgotten. Let me become absorbed in this service which he's given me, no matter what it is. And then he says, and my only motive is Krishna alone, pleasure. It's December 19th, letter to Jayapataka Swami, and it's a wonderful letter. If you read the whole letter, is brilliant. But this is in the Transcendental Calendar, if you've got one of them, by Prabhupada, December 19th. Okay.
Thank you so much. And it's so wonderful if we can just meditate on that. So wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. What came to mind is Gajrinja, that prayer. So it's like most of us, isn't it? And we, well, some of us at least, we come to the point of surrender when we're in crisis. And then that's it.
Yes. Yes, we only remember Krishna when we are in trouble, isn't it? Otherwise, I'm happy. Why do I need to remember Krishna? Hare Krishna.
Thank you for an interesting class. Here's my question about surrender. So the Goswami, like Rupa Goswami, he said, okay, you give 50% to the Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, 50% to family, 25% to family members, 25% for emergency. Now, if you're a wealthy person, then 25% of a lot is still a lot. It doesn't look to me like it's full surrender. And I'm wondering why he didn't just say, actually, everything belongs to Krishna, just give everything to Krishna. Why did they give this example? They told us to follow this example. It seems that they're telling us you should hold back, keep it for yourself for emergencies, because this is going to protect you, as if it will protect you, but we know it all belongs to Krishna. Why not just surrender straight away?
You see, I don't have any understanding. You are more qualified to answer that question. But yes, we are also saying here that the body is, we need to look after the soul and not be focused on the body. But my understanding is that the body also needs looking after to a certain point, because if we don't have the body, then we can't, engage in devotional service. But how many percentage we need, I don't know. But Prabhuji, maybe you can answer that.
More or less answer. You've got to be practical, haven't you? You can't fully surrender 100% straight away. Krishna.
I think the key is that Prabhupada just gave those percentages as a guide, but I think it's up to us. Yeah, we might not be rich, but we might want to surrender 75% and think, well, I'll just do with the bare basics and keep my body and soul together. So I think it also depends on individuals as well. Not to take it as that, I've got so much, but because Srila Prabhupada said just 25%, I'll just give 25%. If we have more, then we should surrender more, and keep whatever little. The whole point is it's simple living and higher thinking, isn't it? So we keep our living very, very simple, so we only need the minimum, and then the rest is Krishna's. Having that mood, I think.
Yeah, if you can't give 50% of your wealth, then give 50% or 100% of your time to Krishna. Time is more valuable than wealth in Kali Yuga, it seems like. Because people, when you're on Sankirtan, the biggest excuse they give you is, I don't have time. I haven't got time, I ain't got time. So if we can give our time to Krishna, that's better. If you can't give your wealth, or you can't give 50%, and give more time.
Time. Like I was saying here that Radha Govinda Maharaj was saying that a lot of time is taken up, by things that we use for looking after our body. We are running out of time, so shall we stop here if that's okay? Thank you so much for your patience. Srimad Bhagavatam Granth Raj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.